we do have a lot of treats in the NFL. As far as good games to watch, Cowboys, Eagles, and Bills and Bengals. The Sunday night football game is that Bills and Bengals matchup with Cincinnati 1.5-point favorites. I think I've seen that line maybe bigger at some other shops as well. Yeah, it's at 3 because obviously the Bengals coming off a big win on the road at San Francisco. And then the Cowboys and the Eagles, one of the premier matchups of 2 of the best teams in the NFC. So of these 2 games, is there anything you like as far as a spread goes or a total? Or are these 2 games that you just want to sit back and watch?
I like the Bills. I know the money is going in the opposite direction, but again, it's moved from Bengals -1.5 to Bengals -3. Total has gone up a point. So I think if you're getting 3 points with the Bills, then you got to grab it. This feels like, to me, a bit of an overreaction and a bit of recency bias. Look, the Bengals are playing great football. They have won 4 or 5. There's no question they are finding their footing like they do each and every single year. This is just what Cincinnati does. And I know the Bills have been more inconsistent than we're accustomed to seeing. But if you can get 3 points with a team that I think you could argue is maybe the better team, if home field advantage is worth 3 points, then who wins this game on a neutral field? I think it's the Bills, so I will happily take 3 with Buffalo on the road and go get some money here.
I think this is a good spot for a teaser leg, and we will be talking about my teaser teams in a couple segments here on the show. But I do think this one's going to be a closer game than maybe this line indicates. But we were just talking about this. It's not necessarily about the matchup. It's about the value you're getting. And it just feels like the chance to buy low on the Bengals, you've missed your opportunity unless you are playing them to win the AFC, which I still think is a pretty good value at 9-1. So I think you either play that or you just sit this one out if you do think the Bengals win this game. Because think about it. If the Bengals win this big primetime game against the Bills, won't there be way more steam on this Bengals team to win the AFC? I feel like this number will go up.
Yeah,
or down,
I think you're right about that. Or I knew what you meant. But yeah, I agree. And I'm still trying to figure out Cincinnati. I think they're just going to be the same team that they are every year, right? This is what they've done for 2 years. They start off weak, and then Joey has to get healthy. And also Joe Burrow is just healthier. I think that's just the primary reason here, right? He was struggling with that calf injury. He wasn't right. He played through it. But now he's becoming a little bit more mobile in the pocket. He just looks like a different quarterback. I still like Bills +3, but moving forward, if you like the Bengals on a futures ticket, I don't mind that at all.
What is the game on the schedule that kind of looks like that?
Oh, this is an easy one. You want a trick? You want a toothbrush? How about Giants at Raiders?
Bible verse?
Holy crap. Do you really want to watch Jimmy G? Raiders are favored by 3 with Tommy DeVito at quarterback for the Giants. Tommy DeVito from New Jersey. He's actually from Jersey. And if you look at a picture of Tommy DeVito, guess who he looks like? He looks like Tommy DeVito. Forget about it, all right? I mean, Tommy can throw the pigskin around. Get in there. You can play for the Giants, Tommy. You got a great arm. Well, Matt is saying Daniel Jones has been cleared for contact. I don't care. I want to see Tommy DeVito. I am not watching Daniel Jones or no. Like if you said to me, oh, I don't want to watch Giants, Raiders, and then someone said, well, Daniel Jones is playing. Whoa, well, excuse me. Sign me up. I'm in. No, I'm not watching Giants, Raiders. That game is the biggest trick of all.
Yeah, but look at the Giants. They had -8 passing yards last week, or -9, excuse me, and still took that game to overtime. Like, the Giants aren't great either. So the Raiders aren't great either. And they're coming off a short week. Would you take the Giants here?
That's my whole point. They both suck. James Harden is heading from the Sixers to the LA Clippers. The Clippers get James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Philip Petrusev. The 76ers get Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, KJ Martin, a 2028 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and a 2029 pick swap. So all of a sudden, the Clippers have moved to 13-1 to win the NBA title, the 5th best odds behind the Nuggets, Suns, Bucks, and Celtics. This has been a point of contention all offseason long between Harden and the Sixers, and it's kind of crazy how his relationship with James Morey has just deteriorated over time because at one time, be it in Houston or in Philly, those guys were thick as thieves. And now Harden gets a fresh start again, or Daryl Morey. So are you a buyer in this Clippers trade that they're going to be better now that they have Kawhi, now that they have Paul George, now that they have James Harden? Not necessarily a super team, but they have superstars.
I think the bottom line for me is that James Harden is a big name in name only. So when you see the odds move, I don't think it's necessarily warranted because you have to lower your expectations for James Harden. He'll have like a couple games here and there where he kind of reverts back to his old self. But on the whole, how consistent can he be? How consistent will the effort be? Because we have seen this story before. James Harden goes to a new team. He's good for a little bit, and then he gets antsy or he doesn't like something and he wants to be traded. So just, color me a little jaded on this one, that I don't believe that James Harden is going to be at his best in yet another new location.
Yeah, I'm the same way, where I feel like the reputation of James Harden has started to falter somewhat. He's still a very good player. I believe he led the NBA in assists last season. I need to check that, but he's still a very good player, but he's not the James Harden that we've seen in years past. And I think, more to your point, he's a guy that seems very curmudgeonly, right? If he's not happy, like you said, he's going to move on. And so he started with the Thunder, then he goes to the Rockets. He stays there for a while. Then it's Brooklyn. Now it's Philadelphia. Now it's the Clippers. At some point, he's the problem. It's not everyone else if you are constantly trying to shift teams because you aren't happy anywhere.
I think the two teams that kind of caught my attention early on were the two of the better games on the slate. I think I'm going to go Cowboys +9 over the Eagles, and I'm going to do Bills +9 at the Bengals. I think both of these teams can keep it relatively close. I think both of these games from a watching perspective are going to be really good. The Cowboys scare me a little bit just because, you're going on the road, you're playing in a hostile environment, and sometimes the Cowboys don't really show up when they're tasked with playing the best teams in the NFL. But I don't know, the Eagles don't look nearly as dominant as they have been in years past. So maybe the Cowboys can keep it within 9. Then I'm looking at the Bills and the Bengals. It feels like a spot where maybe the Bengals are a touch overvalued. They're coming off that huge win over the Niners. They're starting to gain some steam, but I still don't think it's going to be a blowout win over the Bills, who, if you look at their top end, their potential, they can hang with the best teams in the AFC. We know this. It's just the problem is, are they going to reach that potential on a weekly basis? Because it's been a very inconsistent team. So those are really the only two that I like. I think if I threw another one in there, I would be feeling a little nervous about it because I did consider the Saints laying a 1.5 over the Bears. Or how about this one, Jenks? The Commanders are getting 3 on the road at the Patriots. If I'm giving you 9 points with your Washington Commanders, do you think this is worth throwing in the teaser?
No, not right now. To be honest, I don't know what to think about the Commanders. The Commanders have a real propensity to play up to the level or down to the level of whoever they're playing. Now, you would think, okay, the Patriots aren't a good team, so maybe it'll just be a slugfest, maybe it'll be a slop fight. But this is a team now that, if you look at, you can find, of course, these offshore odds. Ron Rivera is the favorite to get fired right now in the National Football League at 2-1. And the defense, which was supposed to be the strength of this team, just did not get it done. So I don't know where they are mentally. And one thing to keep an eye on as well is that I believe the NFL trade deadline is today at 4? And there's been a lot of scuttlebutt that they could trade Chase Young. They could trade Montez Sweat, and those guys are 2 of the better defensive ends in the National Football League, even though that defensive line has not been great. It's just a team that right now I would stay away from because of what could happen at the trade deadline. After the trade deadline, if you want to take another look at them, maybe, but they're way too inconsistent for me to think they could absolutely win the game outright. They could lose by 10. I just don't know where they are right now, and they don't know where they are because they don't really have a real identity.
I think that's a great point, that maybe if you see some of these teaser legs that you're on the fence about, maybe wait till after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Because if you do like the Commanders and they do trade away some pieces, you'll probably get a better number on them, at least, you know? So I think that's where my strategy starts, is that I'm not necessarily buying into the Commanders winning this game outright. I just think that the Patriots do not have a good enough offense to blow out teams.